Hello and welcome back. This is Don't Watch It at Night, a spooky little podcast dedicated to Spanish language horror and Latin American horror. I'm your host, Valerie.
And I'm Veronica.
Ron, I need to share with you another round of public humiliation that I committed recently. So Friday, it was a Friday. It wasn't this Friday. I think it was last Friday. It was the end of the workday. My spouse was supposed to be done with his workday, and so I come into the office just shouting loud as can be, I got that dog in me, not knowing that he was still on a Zoom call. I don't even know what I got that dog in me means.
I don't even know what that is.
You've not come across it online? Are you chronically online like I am?
No.
There's lots of, so the reason it's funny to me is because you'll see people post, it's like a meme or an image of, I got that dog in me. And then the dog is a Chihuahua. And so, that resonates for me. But yeah, I shouted that on his Zoom call. And, but that's his own fault, because it's like, why aren't you on mute? If you're not if you're on a Zoom call and you're not talking, you should be muted. It's the year's 2025. Come on. Yeah. Anyway, how goes it with you?
Oh, same old. Not anything. No public humiliations like that. So,
no funny stories to share.
Pretty boring over here.
Yeah, you got to go hit up later on. You said something about practice, rehearsal, something.
Yeah, that's pretty much been eating up all my spare time. I'm either watching the choreo, learning the choreo, or practicing the choreography. So
you're a dancer.
No, not dancing. It's just cardio dance, but it's exercise. But yeah, it's a lot. My brain is like having. I wish it was like the Matrix. You watch the Matrix, right? Where you could just like download something into your brain, and then it was just there, and you could just do it. Yeah, I wish I could do that, because otherwise, trying to cram 30 routines in a month is a lot.
Now it's bothering me. What I got that dog in me mean? What does it mean?
I've never heard it or seen it.
Well, I mean, that's not fun. Is an expression that describes someone who is determined, mentally tough, or has a strong will to succeed. Okay, well, that's fine. That's fine. It's not like I was being inappropriate or suggesting that I'm like a horn dog or something. So that's fine. It was like wondering if he was going to get pulled into HR for shouting that on the call. But anyway, all right. Well, I guess if you have no fun, interesting stories to share, we can get right into it.
I'll try to have a fun, interesting story. I just live a very dull life. It's not a lot changes over here.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else going on with me. Oh, last Friday we hosted a murder mystery party here at our house. We actually
see a picture of that on.
Yeah,
Facebook.
we actually did hire a company. I think it's the Murder Mystery Company, and I think they have branches all over the country, but they have one, I think, out of Dallas here in Texas. And so we hired somebody, a professional, to come and like an actor / facilitator. We invited our guests. Everybody got to be a suspect. It was really fun because even we as the hosts got to play along, not knowing, like if one of us was going to be the murderer, if one of us was going to be offed or whatever. So it was just really, really fun. We all got to dress up. The kids were out of the house for the night. They went to go stay with mom and dad. And so it was just really, really fun. We've never done anything like that before. And I don't know that we ever will again, because it's not exactly like inexpensive to do this, but it was sort of a way to celebrate our wedding anniversary, because we just hit 14 years and we never got to celebrate our 10 year or anything, because that was like during the pandemic. So like we've never had a party for ourselves. So we decided to just have something at the house, and it was fun. And I highly recommend it.
You did it on your 14th year. You didn't want to wait till like 15. It's like
we could be dead by then, Veronica. The country could be in ruin. Who knows? So it was fun. If you guys ever have a chance to do something like that for yourself, you should do it. And
no, thank you. That would involve entertaining people, and I don't do that.
Well, I mean, like you're people people you're already close with. It's not like you're entertaining a bunch of strangers. So it's like, ideally, it's people you like and want to hang out with.
It's like at the end of this month, from March 30th to April 3rd, I have to fly out to Sarasota to the headquarters of this fly dance fitness company for training, and it's going to be me and the couple that are franchising here, and then the 2 other instructors that they've hired so far. I was telling my spouse, I was like, I'm gonna have to extrovert for 4 days straight. And we're going to be in an Airbnb, like everyone's going to have their own room, but we're all going to be in the same house. So I can't even really fully like decompress in the evenings by going off to my very own hotel room and not have to share common spaces with anybody.
Yeah. I mean, you might just need to be honest with them and say, okay, guys, I need to re-energize. I need to recharge. So I'm going to go into my room now. Good night. I'll see you in the morning. I'm going to be reading until I go to sleep. So it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Yeah. I mean, to your point, yeah, it was a lot of extroverting to host people, but it was just a lot of fun. Alex got to die. I didn't get to die, but he got to actually like flop on the ground and pretend he'd been killed by poison. It was really cool. So yeah. All right. That's my story. So I guess we can move on if you want to get right into it.
All right. So when did this movie come out? So our movie this time around is, when did this movie come out?
I was showing 2022.
2022?
Yeah.
All right. Oh, by the way, up top, because we always forget, there will be, some spoilers. We might be spoiling some aspects of this movie, so be warned. But yes, we watched 2022's MexZombies, which is a very weird, it's a hard to say name, really.
MexZombies. MexZombies. Yeah, it's a weird.
It doesn't roll off the tongue. But 2022, directed by Chava Cartas and starring Iñaki Godoy as Tavo, Marcelo Barceló, there's a rhyming name, Marcelo Barceló as Kronos, Roberta Damián as Anna, Luciana Vale, maybe this Vale, I don't know, as Rex, Vincent Webb as Johnny, and Bárbara de Regil as Jefe Vargas. I may have mispronounced some of those names, but
yeah,
that's kind of our main core cast going on there. The little, I don't know what you call it, tagline, plot synopsis says, a group of teenagers must face a zombie apocalypse and help reestablish order.
Mm-hmm. When did you watch this movie?
Last night. Started at around 10. I meant to watch it earlier in the day, but the day got away from me. I had to take Sophia to get her haircut.
Yeah. All right. Well, so when did I watch it? I watched it Thursday. I watched it Thursday. I intended to watch it Wednesday and then I didn't. So I watched it Thursday. So it's a little rusty for me, but I mean, I don't know what to say. It's not a super complicated movie. It was fun. I had a good time. It was funny. I appreciated all of the references to movies, including Kronos, which is,
which we just saw recently.
So I appreciated all of that. And I thought that the zombies were great. Well done effects there. So I don't know, how did you enjoy it? Zombies are Veronica's wheelhouse of her core, whatever.
I enjoyed it for what it was, and it played into, it didn't take itself seriously, and it's not intended to be a serious zombie movie. So it really kind of just leaned into that. It didn't, I was going to say it didn't add anything really significant to zombie lore, but maybe it did, because now we all know that power ballads soothe them.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, it was just kind of a goofy, campy, funny movie. I did chuckle a few times in there. And,
what'd you think of because so this is a movie that has all kid actors, really. And and like true teens, like
Yeah,
not
they're not like 20 or 30 somethings playing teenagers.
right.
They're
So what did you
actual.
think of them as a cast, as performers?
I thought they all did really well. I thought Kronos was he was kind of the standout for me. I really,
Yeah. Yeah.
he's kind of he's the aspiring filmmaker. I think they're like 14. They said
Yeah, they're young. Yeah, like 14,
they're like
15.
14. He's the aspiring filmmaker, and he is up on all he's my person. He's my tribe, because he knows the zombie movies, he knows the zombie lore. He was kind of like the expert, if you will,
Yeah.
in terms of what to do and what not to do.
And so this movie opens, I think it's like a couple of days prior to Halloween, but it
2
takes
days.
place, the bulk of the movie takes place on Halloween. So Kronos is dressed as Tallahassee from, what is the movie? Zombieland.
Mm-hmm.
So, which is a movie you enjoyed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever see Zombieland 2?
No, I did not.
I never got to see it either. When did it come out? I was reflecting on that the other day, because I was like, why didn't I see Zombieland 2? I liked it. I liked the first one. It came out in 2019, like a full 10 years after.
Was it the same actors? The same characters?
I have no idea. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the same people reprising, except what's her face? Emma Stone. No, she did come back. Okay, so was everybody that was in the original.
Okay.
Yeah, I never saw it. Why didn't I see it in 2019? What was I doing? I don't remember. But yeah. So yeah, it takes place over Halloween, and so he's dressed as Tallahassee, which I thought you would appreciate, because I know Tallahassee was your beloved character in that movie too. So
yeah. So yeah, I just thought it was cute.
Did you appreciate?
If a zombie movie can be cute.
Yeah. Did you like? So the opening of the movie is we're in a lab, and there's a scientist guy who's experimenting with mice, and so he like. Did you like rats? Did you like that origin story for this particular film? That it's like something like a virus, not a virus, but like something that he injects.
We created.
Right, something that he injects into the rat, and the rat like instantly zombifies. Did you appreciate that? Did you like that scene? Because immediately the rat like gets all crazy and like eats the other rats, and it's pretty funny actually.
Yeah, and then see, that's what I like when a horror movie kind of, or a horror comedy in this case, really kind of goes in for it like right from the start. Because I think it was barely 2 minutes in, we'd already had the rat zombified, and we had that cool kill shot of those two henchmen dude that whack the scientist guy.
Yes. What do you mean? What do you mean? Kill where they put his body in the toxic water?
Well, no, just the shot where they catch him putting the suitcase with the serums or whatever,
right? And we get that slow motion.
Yeah. I thought that was cool. That was kind of established throughout the whole movie. We had those every time a zombie, bit into somebody. It was always this slow mo shot, with
slow motion
stretching and the blood,
which is also kind of its own nod to movies like Zombieland. And I'm trying to like Shaun of the Dead. Shaun of the Dead, I think, also deploys some slow motion shots like that. It just sort of amps up the gore, but also the comedy of it.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. And then from there, yes, we do get like the scene where the henchmen are coming to dump the body in that toxic river, and we see those other guys that I don't know what they are, people who are, I don't know what they're doing.
I think they were illegally dumping things also.
Okay, yeah,
just not dead bodies.
But that is kind of the birth of how I don't want to call it a virus, the serum, the drug. It's a drug. Yeah, because the Jefe woman we're going to meet later is trying to get the drug on the market. So that's kind of the origin story of how it breaks out of the lab. Is these henchmen take it, they inject these guys with it. They're at the river or whatever, and then those guys zombify, or one of them does. No, well, they inject them and then they dump them in the sludge, not knowing that they're going to come back to life, and from there it goes and it goes on. And so then we meet Davil, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, what were some of the things that you wanted to talk about in this film? Like I said, it's not super complicated, but
I know it doesn't have yeah, but it's interesting that you and I didn't think of it till we were just kind of going over the beginning of this movie. That because in most zombie movies we don't always necessarily know what the origin of the virus or the bacteria or whatever it is. But in this case, we are very clearly told that this is man-made. So this is kind of a potential apocalypse, a potential Holocaust that mankind brought about ourselves. So
yeah.
I don't know if that was something deep that the director or the writer was going for, but interesting to note, nonetheless, that
what's interesting to note in a lot of
we're going to be the cause of our own destruction, basically.
Right. Well, like in movies like Train to Busan, do we ever get the origin story there? It is something also.
It's kind of implied. Yeah, it's implied.
Some sort of chemical something, but that is also man produced. Kind of like we're poisoning the environment and whatever, zombifying ourselves. But what I was going to ask you, because zombie movies a lot more better than I do, are there zombie movies out there where the zombification is a slower process? Because in a lot of the zombie films I have seen to date, it seems like it's a very rapid turn. Like you're injected with something or you get infected with something, and then the turn happens pretty quick. Have you seen zombie movies where the turn happens more slowly than that, over maybe like weeks or something? A slow turn.
Movies, I can't think of one off the top of my head. And it kind of makes sense because in a movie you only have 2 hours,
right,
if that. Most horror movies tend to be more an hour and a half, so I don't really think it would make sense in that short time to get your narrative across for it to take a long time for someone to turn. I know in The Walking Dead, at least in the early seasons, it wasn't like right away. It could take hours for someone to turn, and they had the time to like spend an entire episode before someone turned. But that would be the slowest. I don't think I've ever that I can recall at this moment, since you put me on the hot seat, that I can recall at this moment of a movie where it took a long time for a person to turn.
Yeah.
I know in World War Z it was like seconds.
Yeah.
Like if you could count to 10 and you hadn't turned yet, then you were okay.
I mean, I think I've said this on the podcast before, but if not, confession now. I have not watched The Last of Us, so I don't even know what that's about. Have you watched it? I know you intended to.
We did. We've watched both seasons.
Is that zombies? What is that? What's the premise there?
There's a bacteria.
I
think it's a bacteria, or is it a fungus? I can't remember. Maybe it's fungal. I don't know, but it's one of those, something in plant life that somehow crosses over into the human. Like I think it was in flour. It got in some kind of grain that's like typically used in like baking, and so basically anybody that ate bread or had cakes or things of that nature turned. And so they're not called zombies in the show, but it's zombie-esque. Like, have you seen that? There is an actual, in real life, and I don't remember the name of the scientific name for it. It's in insects, in the insect world, where the bacteria will, like, say it's an ant, will invade the brain of the ant, and it doesn't die. It still moves around, but it's basically this fungus or bacteria, whatever it is, I can't remember, that is controlling it.
Yeah.
Doesn't necessarily have intelligence, I don't think. I hope not. But
no, yeah, I've heard of
that's kind of what The Last of Us is. It's that has crossed over into
okay.
Homo sapiens.
Okay. Yeah. It is interesting.
It could happen.
It is interesting. I hear what you're saying about how like it wouldn't necessarily serve a fast moving plot to have a slow turning zombie. But like, I don't know, maybe over like a book or something. Like it might be cool if like it's just like you're slowly dying or zombifying over the course of the story, and so it's just sort of like a slow death that you're having to suffer, and that the people you love are having to endure. And I don't know, like maybe you get more violent as time goes on. Maybe you start lusting for flesh or brains or something like that. You're just fighting your inner urges to want to like eat brains or something. It might be interesting. So I don't know. I don't.
It's not enough of the zombie-esque action in Last of Us for my tastes, actually.
Yeah.
Kind of watching. It's more about the human drama. But I'm just sitting there kind of like, okay, but where are the zombie people?
Well, see,
give me the zombie people.
I haven't started it because I've heard beautiful things about it, but it's just like, I don't want to cry. Like, I don't know. Life is hard enough right now. I don't want to cry. I did enjoy.
Trying to remember if I've cried.
I did enjoy. What's the name of that show? Fallout.
I still want to check that one out when I get actual
fun. You should check
when
it out.
I get actual free time to do something.
that one I think you would enjoy. So make time whenever you can to watch that, because it was really great, and it is coming back. They are doing season 2. So okay, back to this movie.
What streaming show is it on?
I think Amazon Prime.
Okay.
So, and by the way, guys, so this movie, Ron, you watched this on Amazon Prime?
Yes.
Okay. And I
was able to rent it.
Okay, I was not able to rent it, but I do have now the VIX Plus app, which is a streaming app for a lot of Spanish film and television, and so I was able to watch it there. And the VIX app is pretty cool. Like if you are into Spanish language entertainment, it's got so much stuff. So I was telling Ronnie, because I was just intending to get the app in order to stream this movie, but then as soon as I started going through it, I was like, I might keep it. This is pretty cool. I can watch a lot of stuff. So anyway, yeah, I like what is there to say? I liked all of the ways that through the character of Kronos, we get lots of references to pop culture. This movie came out in 2022, but also films. So, and not necessarily. And what's really interesting about this little group of kids is they're so socially conscious and tapped, like I said, tapped into the culture. It's just funny. Like the references to, what's the name of that movie? Like when somebody says something that could be described as like being classist or something like that, they'll call each other out on that. And so I'm trying to, what's the name of that movie? What are you remembering?
No, I'm just remembering a line that Anna tells her boy. Well, I don't remember the exact line, but she says something about like, what's with your 80s racism? I'm like, I don't know why she settled on the 80s. The 80s were damn nice, good.
I don't know about that, but okay.
That's my era. But I thought that was funny.
Yeah. I really enjoyed characters. I liked Tavel. I liked Kronos as well, and I really enjoyed the character of Johnny, the little white kid.
I was like, okay, why is this random white kid just plopped in the middle of this Mexican zombie movie? But
he's an American. Johnny is an American.
Definitely could tell.
Born in Massachusetts, has lived in Texas since the age of 4. Understands Spanish very well, though he doesn't speak it in the film. But he's able to follow along everything that they're saying. But it's just very funny how through Johnny's character, like, what is he? He knows Spanish. He is very skilled with a gun, kind of representing like Texas Americans, skilled with a gun. What else about him is he's the character that, spoiler, he's the character that is killed, and the way he went out was just hilarious to me. He's like, I'll see you in the next life or something like that. What does he say? I'll see you in the next world. Yeah, maybe it's in the next world. And Kronos is like, we'll find the cure. I thought that was pretty funny. Yeah.
I thought it was interesting the end. I don't know, at the end when it's revealed that somehow zombie Johnny survived the,
So tell me, because I didn't get to see. Are you talking about end scenes?
I don't know if it was an end scene. I think it was just the last scene of the movie before the credits rolled.
I didn't get to see it because Vix cut me off from like they cycle you into the next thing they want to show you, so I didn't get to see it. So tell me.
But dang, they didn't even wait for the credits to roll. So you know that Davos,
explodes
explodes the clubhouse where
blows it up.
All the adults were having their Halloween party, and all the zombies, they had kind of trapped them in there. And then at the end of the movie, where you see all the surviving kids kind of having their little toxin going off, and the police are there, and then right before the credits start, we see a shambling figure, doing the zombie walk down the darkened street, and turns around, and it's Johnny. So he's a zombie, so he's still around to wreak havoc. And if it hadn't been made in 2022, I would say, like, if it had been made now, I would say it's very fitting to kind of, since Johnny kind of represented America and the gung ho and the, know how to do an automatic rifle type of thing. I would say that it's quite fitting to show that American Johnny is now a zombie, and it's kind of decaying and dead, but still going to cause some damage. So I would think that was very apropos for the times.
Right. But it just ends like that. We don't know like what happens, and we don't know if like, okay.
Yeah. It just ends with him.
So the zombie
that he somehow got out of that clubhouse before it blew up.
Yeah. I mean, that is one. So the premise of this film is that this all takes place in this neighborhood, and these are affluent teens, except for Thavo. These are affluent teens living in this gated community. It's very sunny. It's very bright. The homes are very lovely. Like the majority of this film, and this is the other thing that kind of always throws me with certain horror films, is the majority of this film takes place during the day, which kind of alleviates a little bit of the scare factor for me. But for the purposes of this movie, the shots where you get the zombies engaging in acts of gore and bloodiness, it's all the more stark and vivid because it's set against this like really bright, almost stark white backdrop of pavement, walls, people's homes and things like that. So it's almost like hyped up brightness, thrown against these decaying zombies and their bloodiness. Our first introduction to the zombie. What now? What were we going to say?
No, I was just going to say, which that might have been an intentional thing too, to kind of show that decay and rot can be happening under this facade of, everything's all right.
Yeah. Which, like, I don't know do you have any opinions on gated communities?
I don't think they really, I don't know what the purpose of the function is. Is it to keep out?
Right.
Like, I don't know what the function keeping out, because I don't think it really works.
Like when we were looking for houses, when we were house hunting, because we needed, we had an unexpected third child and we needed more space. Our realtor kept asking us if we were interested in looking at like, so it's such and such place, and I would look it up and I would notice that it was a gated community, and I would tell her, no, we're not interested in that. I think at one point I may have even said something that kind of sounded a little snooty about it. And she said, just out of curiosity, like, what is your reservation about a gated community? And I don't remember what I said, but I didn't like the exclusivity of it. And we live in a suburb of Austin, and every so often some elderly person in our community will pipe up and be like, oh, we need to gate this community in. And it's always intended to, because they want to keep certain people out. They want to be an isolated community. And Alex and I are of the opinion that it's, first of all, it'll never happen in our neighborhood. It won't. There's so many things that prevent that from happening. And these fools don't even realize that once you, in our area anyway, it may be different in other states, but in our area, at least, once you become a gated community, things like street repair, things like all of the stuff that is usually taken care of by the city becomes your responsibility. So these people are not willing to do that much work. So they just want to keep people out. And, you know, if that would ever happen here, we'd be gone. We would leave this neighborhood in a heartbeat. So, you know, if people are listening and they're like, oh no, I'm pro gated community, that's fine. I'd love to hear your reasons for that, but you know, I'm not into gated communities at all.
Well, and they don't even really, unless it's such a high end that you can afford to pay guards to actually monitor who comes in and out. Everybody knows you could just follow somebody in, and I mean they don't really work.
Yeah,
like I said, unless it's like a really high end one where you can like actually employ people to be the gatekeepers.
You said something and it reminded me of something and I forgot it again. We do, let's see, this is what I was going to talk to you about. So our first introduction into zombies, I kind of appreciated the way that they did that. So the scene, to set it up for people, Tarvo has hopped the fence, the gated community, hopped the fence easily to get
over there.
He's parkoured into the neighborhood to go visit his friend Kronos. And I forget the guy's name, but there's
Lalo.
some like who?
Lalo.
Yeah, like he's like what, a handyman, somebody?
Yeah, I think so.
So they see Lalo, who seems to be taking in a body that has been dropped off at either his residence or it's his residence, and turns out it's his father. And so Lalo is explaining to them, you know, I'd been estranged from my father for a long time, but you know, this is the best I can do for him. So, something to the effect of like, this isn't even like a proper wake or whatever, a proper burial, but he has the body there in his house at the time that he also has to go off and work. So he's just like, I'm just gonna have to leave it here. It's in a zipped up body bag, by the way, so we don't actually see the body yet. And Tavo and Kronos are like, oh, you know, I mean, you might remember this better than I. What do they say to him? They're just like,
I don't remember.
Do you remember the scene?
I do remember the scene, but I don't even remember why. Oh, I think the kid's just walking because they witness, obviously, the coroner people or whoever is dropping off the body bag. And so they're curious. They head over there to find out what's going on. And Lalo tells the kids that, you know, apparently his dad like dipped out on him and his mother in the past, but you know, his mother, who apparently is also deceased, would roll over in her grave if he didn't provide some kind of burial for him, but he can't really afford a service. So
that's right. Yeah.
He's got to go off and do those handyman jobs, and he leaves the kids there. He says like the only thing that his dad left him was this vast collection of porn films. So he tells the boys, help yourselves, you know, just, you know, don't make a mess.
Don't make a mess.
Don't make a mess. Don't leave anything sticky. Exactly what he said, which is gross.
And so the kids sit down. They're like, all right, fine. They start watching a video. And then like you see, and I thought this was pretty fun. Like you see over Tavo's shoulder this goo dripping, and he like looks at it, and then he looks up and he sees the zombie. He sees Lalo's father. So I thought that was pretty funny. What did you think of that moment? How did you like that?
No, I think it was a good intro, and the boys, you know, they locked themselves in a closet for a little bit, and Kronos whips out his cell phone, and this is what I thought was funny. He whips out his cell phone to film while Tavo's checking to see if the coast is clear for them to escape. And
yeah,
I was like, what are you doing? You're filming this? And Kronos is like, what did he say? There's a zombie in my street. Why wouldn't I film it?
Right.
Which is, of course.
I thought it was really, really, so my line that I remembered from that moment is like Tavo being like, you know, what is that? What is that? And Kronos is just like, I think it's zombies. I think it's a zombie. And he's he's like, what else could it be? And Tavo's like, literally anything else. Like,
because in the real world, there surely would be another explanation for.
So yeah, I mean, again, this is another example of like these kids, however young they are at the time of this movie, at the time of this filming, they give really great performances. I'm usually not that into like kid actors, but these guys do a good job. So yeah, I thought that first zombie shot was great. And then from there, they go off trying the whole movie. They're spending trying to like get adults to take this threat seriously, and they can't. So ultimately, the group that saves the community are this ragbag group of teens, ragtag, whatever, bags of tags. So it is these teens who get it done. What's the other girls? So there's the main girl.
I also back to that scene when they're assessing that, oh my God, this is actually a real zombie. Kronos, because he is who he is, my kind of people, he initially is assessing, he's asking Tavo, did it run really fast? He's right away assessing, is it a slow zombie? Is it a George Romero zombie, or is it a World War Z zombie?
Yeah.
This is crucial knowledge for survival.
And like they are kind of slow moving, right? Well, are they like slow enough that you could get away?
They're not as slow as George Romero zombies, the OG zombies, but they move more, I guess, at a normal speed.
But it's like you could get away. Like there are several instances in the film as the zombies start to multiply and move through this neighborhood, and you start to see them go after just random neighbors in the community. It's just like woman, like for example, a woman she'll be pruning her bushes, she'll turn around and there's this zombie coming at her, and it's like, you could run away. Like she just stands there, she's like, no, and like comes at her.
The dude that was the what was he run walking?
Which one? Oh, yes. Yeah.
He comes across and he sees, I guess, the guy that does, or the back of the guy that does his yard. Roses. And he's like, you need to come and do my roses. And, the gardener gets up and turns around, eating something, like a hand or something, some body part. And I was expecting him to take off run walking.
Right. And he's just like doing this little barely running and jog walk. And it's just so funny. He's just like, my roses look like crap. And it was funny. It was good. So the two main girls in this movie are names I've already forgotten.
Anna and Rex.
Which
is short for Regina.
I liked Rex a lot.
I liked Rex. Anna not so much, but
Anna not so much. I
didn't dislike Anna. I just thought she was kind of bland.
Yeah, I think the critique that Tavo gives her later on of like, you don't fight for what you want, I think that's accurate, because I didn't not like her, but she's not. Until later on in the film, she's bothered enough by her boyfriend, but not so much that she stands up to him or sticks up for these kids that she obviously, whose company she enjoys. So it's just like, I agree with his assessment of her of like, I like you and everything, but you don't fight for what you want. You're just kind of you're a pushover or whatever. So yeah, she wasn't my favorite. I did like Rex though. Did you like? Yeah. How would you describe Rex?
She's a future Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah.
No. Well, so, I mean, in terms of her character of Ripley, that's what I meant to say. She's a future Ripley.
Okay. Yeah.
She's like, so she's that kind of, just, I don't know how to describe. How would you describe her? She's just,
I mean, so like
she
initially
seems savvy. She seems, opinionated. She calls things out. She's
free with the cuss words because all the adults they encounter are like, watch your language. She speaks her mind. She's smart, like initially when we first meet her and she's talking to Anna, I was like, okay, so Anna's a beautiful one and Rex is like the smart one, whatever, the smart one. So she's also just, she's lovely too, but smart, speaks her mind, takes no shit from anybody, and and
she takes initiative, she's decisive, she
when it comes
doesn't hold back.
When it comes time for them to weapon up, she goes for the samurai sword.
Katana? Is it a katana?
Katana, maybe, yeah. So I appreciate that. She's the one who gets to ride the, I don't know what those motorcycle. But it's like, it's one of those fast ones where she's practically laying down to ride it. So, you know,
even though she's what, like 14, 13, maybe somewhere around there.
I mean, that's the interesting thing is like they are very young in this movie. And because we are so used to Hollywood's teen movies, we are so used to like casting 20-something-year-olds in the roles of teenagers, it makes these kids in this film look that much younger. So it's like I have a hard time knowing how to place this movie. Like, I would say that this is an appropriate movie for older teens, right? Yeah, but not necessarily children. It's not necessarily like young children. I don't know. How would you rank this as like a kids movie?
Not a kids movie, but I definitely would say it's a good entry. A good entry movie for zombie.
For zombies.
Like a first zombie movie.
Yeah.
Like the Dr. Seuss version.
The Dr. Seuss version of
because you do see, the slow motion gore, but there's no nudity. I mean, there's obviously there's cuss words in Spanish. But I think it would be a good gateway movie. For someone like, who's
maybe like the cutoff age would be like, I don't know, 10 or 12. Like anything younger than that is probably too young for this film. But they have that young look about them that kind of threw me. It was just like, well, I don't know how to classify this. Like, if this is a kid's movie, I don't really know how to classify it. You were going to say something. What were you going to say?
No, what were your thoughts on, I don't remember her name, Jefe, whatever her name was, the Narcos lady.
The Narcos lady I feel like that's an actress we should know. I got the vibe that it's like, okay, this must be the name in this movie that because she's on the movie posters that I found on, and I'm like,
even though she's not really in the movie all that much,
she's not a main character, and she doesn't survive, right? Like,
I was gonna say, like, what was the purpose of her and her two henchmen showing up? Because they didn't last very long.
They didn't last very long
at all.
They didn't
take enough ammo in with them. I mean,
they didn't like diminish the zombie population enough, like ultimately it was Tavo who did it. But yeah, so she's like the narco lady that lives in the neighborhood. Is she in the neighborhood? She is in the neighborhood, right?
Yeah.
Because she's trying to drive out of the community at one point before she changes her mind. So she's in the neighborhood, and it's just sort of widely believed in the community that that's the narco house, because I guess it kind of looks like whatever our images, our ideas of a nautical house are. And so when Rex and is it Johnny? Is she with Johnny at that point? They go to the house.
And Kronos.
They go to the house because they're going to try to talk to her about the situation and maybe see if they can weapon up, arm themselves. And so they go asking to speak to Jefe Vargas, not realizing that they think they're asking for a man. She's Jefe Vargas. And so she comes to the door, and she's just, I mean, as a character, I thought she was cool. I would have liked it if she had more to do. Like you said, I think that like she's there to be the name in the movie, I guess. But and I looked at her filmography. She's not in anything I recognize, but then it's a lot of Spanish language stuff that that she's known for. So yeah,
we do learn that she's the one that was developing the drug.
Yes, she wanted it as like a party drug. Yeah. So
so maybe it's fitting that she died the way she did, but it was just like, okay, they're zombies. This building is full of zombies. Why do you not walk in there with all the ammo that you could possibly carry? Because they run out pretty quickly, and then it's like game over.
Yeah.
They go down.
There were, again, lots of comedic moments and lots of
Mm-hmm.
funny references to films because right before she dies, she has a grenade that she wants to pull. And she's like, I've always wanted to say this, say hello to my little. And then she can't remember the line. And I think it's like one of her
The
henchmen
Chinese guy,
who's trying to help her out. And so they're quibbling about that. And then that's ultimately like in the time that they're quibbling, the zombies overtake them. So I thought that was kind of funny. You know, the line is say hello to my little friend, which is from Scarface. And so, yeah, lots of yet another movie reference that I appreciated.
Anything about the movie that you did not particularly like or enjoy?
That I didn't like? No, I mean, like you said earlier, I enjoyed it for what it was. And because it's so silly, I don't feel like there's anything more I could have asked of it. It's only like what, 88 minutes long? I think I saw
An
that.
hour and a half.
Yeah.
About an hour.
And it moves well. Like the pacing of it moves well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I can't think of anything that I would have liked to have seen done differently. What about you?
Lucky.
Lucky? Who's Lucky?
Lucky the dog.
Which one? The black and white one?
Rex's dog.
Yeah, Lucky. I guess that would be nice if Lucky had made it. That was pretty brutal. I was like,
not the dog.
Dang. The dog runs off to attack the zombies, and the zombies like eat the dog right in front of her.
Well,
and then it becomes a zombie dog.
And then you see the dog like lying on the ground, breathing, panting because they took a chunk out of its side. I was like, hello.
It's pretty nasty. What about you? Like, is there anything you would have liked to have seen done differently? Or
this will come as a shock to no one, I'm sure, least of all you. But
okay,
I could have done without all the teen puppy love angst. Like, just take it out altogether. Why can't this just be a group of friends that are banding together? And
well, but that's part of what I thought was hilarious about it is like in the midst of this zombie apocalypse, Anna wants to have it out with Tavo about like, don't you like me and why don't you want to date me? And it's like, girl, can we like get your?
This is not the time. Not the time.
Get your priorities in order, ma'am. You don't even know where your parents are.
I think maybe that's another reason why I just was like, she wasn't like one of my favorites in the movie. Why I could really just...
You're like, you could have seen her go instead of Johnny.
Yeah, actually, and I was going to say, at the very end, when they're hugging and then she gets bit in the ass by a dog, I would have been like, oh yes, she's going to turn into a zombie. Damn it. No, it did not happen. But I was all, that would have been perfection.
So, and I thought that was pretty funny too. So they decide in the moment, okay, you gotta suck out the poison just like you would with like a snake bite. And so, Kronos is what's the word? Simulating that. He's like, and Thava's like, fine, I'll do it. So what is he doing? Is he like sucking her butt? Like, what's he doing? Is that essentially what it is?
Yeah.
He's doing that, and then lo and behold, they see that the dog that bit her isn't a zombie, and so they're like, "Oh, you're not gonna turn after all, yay!" And they all group hug, and I thought that was pretty funny.
That was disappointing, Kronos, because you should know from zombie lore that would not work. You cannot suck the poison, the zombie.
I know. Part of me was like, if you take in the zombie, like, wouldn't that also make you like? I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, I thought that was pretty hilarious. We do kind of see perhaps a budding romance developing between Rex and Kronos by the end of the film. How did that bother you, or did you feel like that was acceptable?
That was okay because it was played more for laughs.
Yeah.
Even though
it's not like they act on it.
Yeah, I immediately thought, well, not immediately, but pretty soon after we're introduced to Rex, and I thought she's a better match for your sensibilities, Kronos, than Anna, because Anna's just, she's the object up on the pedestal, and that's pretty much
right
all she does.
She's just the pretty one. I think at one point, Kronos is like, "Do you wanna be my girlfriend or something?" She goes, "No, I'm okay, thank you." So, yeah, I don't know. It's a fun movie. some of the stuff we read indicated like, oh, this is easily make it into the Halloween rotation. I don't know if it's a Halloween rotation film for me. Like, I enjoyed it, but
it's not really scary.
Like, it's not scary. And maybe, like you said, like if my older kids wanted to watch it, maybe that would be a reason to break it out again. But I don't know if like I personally would watch this year after year. If I were a kid, perhaps. Yeah. I mean, I feel like this is definitely a movie that teens could appreciate and enjoy. So I don't know. Is there anything else you wanted to hit my mic to say? I will say one thing so this movie was supposed to have a theatrical release during the latter part of 2020, but it couldn't because of the pandemic. So ultimately this movie was released to VIX Plus, that streaming platform, in 2022. So it never, I don't know that I get the vibe that it never went to theaters. So, it may be a little known movie is the point I was making there. Anyway, what were we going to say?
Not widely known. I did also like the opening credits.
Okay, tell me about.
It was just I don't know what the song was, but it was like drawings and it wasn't anime, but it was animated. I don't know. I just thought they were cool.
Okay.
And it was kind of like artwork,
like graphics.
Yeah, almost like a graphic novel kind of look to it.
Yeah.
And showing like different scenes that we were going to come across during the movie. So like
I didn't pay that much
my
attention.
favorite one was the one of the chainsaw decapitating.
Oh yes, because that
was Rex.
That was Rex. Rex goes. Who is the zombie attacking?
Davo,
and and so they're all like, this is again in broad daylight. She goes and rounds up this chainsaw that I guess maybe a yard man had left out, and she goes and just saws this head right off.
Yeah.
That's sort of how their introduction, the other kids, to the fact that yes, this is real, because Thavo and Kronos show up to this teenage party, Halloween party, trying to alert everyone, hey, here's what's going on. Nobody believes them until this happens. I did also think that this was a funny scene in the movie where Tavo tries to bust in on this party to warn them that the zombies are coming. None of these affluent little rich kids are treating him seriously or even paying attention to him. And so finally he's just like, all right, I'm here to rob this place, to get them to listen. And that's when they actually stop and pay attention, because they're like, oh no, the kid from the wrong side of the tracks is here to rob us. And then zombie, what's his face? One of the zombie kids shows up trying to attack everybody, and Tavo like inadvertently stabs him with a knife or something, and then all the kids are like, Tavo stabbed so and so, oh my god. So like I just thought that was funny that like in the moment these kids they're so willing to believe that Tavo, the poor kid, is out to get them, when their friend turned zombie is literally right there in zombie mode and they can't see it. So I thought that was funny.
Interesting. Yeah. I thought it was very, I don't know what I thought about this, but when they, the zombies are all in the neighborhood clubhouse where most of the adults are gathered for their Halloween party, and the kids show up and their plan is to trap them all in there. So they lock the door so that they can't get in, but there's still a lot of like unzombified people still in there,
right?
Which we don't know at first, but then later when they actually get in there and people are running out, we're like, okay, so you were just gonna like lock all these people in.
Collateral damage.
There's no plan to save them.
So by the time Tavo does blow up the place, there are no more humans, right? Like it's just zombies. So. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Because
it's like they just accept the fact that it's like collateral damage. We have to contain the outbreak. Those people are dead to us.
And that actually, now that I'm thinking about it, that's also something I don't appreciate about Honest, is she never expressed any sort of concern over whatever family she might have.
Right.
She's not paying for this fancy house all by herself. So surely if she doesn't have siblings, she at least has parents.
Right.
But she never even mentions them. She never says, I got to go check on my parents. Or
yeah, she's the only one who's like, we never encounter, like we meet Rex's mom, we meet Kronos' parents, and we
Davos
never
family.
meet.
Well, we meet Davos' mother at the very
beginning, and she's not in the community, so she's not, at immediate threat,
immediate risk.
But like we never see Anna's family, so I thought that is interesting. What do you think of her boyfriend? Her boyfriend was like, a crappy human, but why
are you even with this guy ever? Yeah.
What does he say to Tavo? That Tavo's like, are you imagining us? What was it like?
Masturbating. I think he said something like, I could just see you guys.
He's like, are you picturing us doing that? And then his delivery, this actor does a pretty good job, because he does turn this villainous guy into something very pathetic and funny and something you can laugh at, because he's like, babe, I promise I wasn't picturing that. Like, he needs to assure himself and his girlfriend, I wasn't picturing that. It is funny,
but it just all makes you wonder, like, why was she ever with him, start with? Like, what was attractive to you once he like, okay, he was a nice looking young man, but the minute he starts talking, what still kept you there? Like, what even got you to accept that first date?
He's just dumb. So like, on a scale, how many light switches would you give this one?
Like, how many light switches?
Don't watch it.
I don't think you need any light switches on to watch this movie.
Yeah, you're gonna be fine. This is
Unless
something,
you're like 5, but if you're
right, no, I mean, like, I don't even know that we really get to,
you can watch it in full dark.
You can watch it in full dark. I don't even know if you really get a long enough look at any of these zombies. I don't know that you really get to study them. They're not on screen for an excessively large amount of time. I did think the scene of the mass of zombies making their way towards the clubhouse and kind of doing the Michael Jackson, I thought that was kind of cool.
We're gonna have what do they call that when flash mob dance? What do they call
dance? Flash mob. Flash mob.
We have a flash mob going.
They've got some good music in this movie. They've got that I got somebody's watching me.
The scene where Kronos is having his imaginary music video moment.
There's lots of fun movie montage moments.
I Just Died in Your Arms Tonight.
Yes.
Was hilarious.
That scene, and then Thavo has his own, dream sequence movie moment where he's cleaning the pool, and Anna's over on the other side of the pool, like doing this 80s like flash dance, maniac aerobics. And then she's like, I need you to clean my pool. So there's lots of fun. It's fun. Yeah. You don't need any lights on to watch this movie. Go for it. And yeah, everyone should give it at least one watch. I think it's an easy.
And my line that I would put on a t-shirt is, where did I write it? They ate Lalo.
Yeah. All right. Well, unless there's something else you did you discuss everything you wanted to discuss about it?
Yeah, I believe so. Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, we can move on to second segment. This is monthly recommendations time. I'll go first. So in light of Gene Hackman recently passing away, I have been watching some of the stuff from his career. And so last night I was watching The Birdcage, but it has been nice to sort of see lots of people online remembering this great actor and just the long list of amazing films he was in. So, I mean, take your pick on what's out there. Mississippi Burning. What was so cool? It was Crimson Tide, obviously. It was another one I saw circulating, but I had forgotten that he was in a movie called The Replacements with Keanu Reeves. Do you ever see The Replacements?
Mm-mm.
So it's kind of, it's based off of a true story, I believe, but I had completely forgotten that he's in that movie, and he has a great monologue at the end of that movie that people were sharing online. And so it's a great monologue. Of course, he delivers it brilliantly, but it's a comedy sports movie that came out in 2000. And it's, what is it? The movie was loosely based on the 1987 NFL strike with specifically the Washington team, who they won all 3 of their replacement games without any of their regular players, and they went on to win the Super Bowl that year. So it's kind of loosely based on that. And it's Keanu Reeves and a couple and like a bunch of other people, but including Jon Favreau, a young Jon Favreau, and Gene Hackman. So I do remember watching that one. I think I saw that in theaters, but I'd completely forgotten about that movie altogether. So you saw Mississippi Burning? Did you ever see Unforgiven? Did you ever see, like, what are some of your Gene Hackman movies that you would recommend to people or that you liked?
Mississippi Burning is probably the top one. Hoosiers was great. He was also in a movie with Ann Archer. I think it was called Narrow Margin.
Okay.
Where he's like, I don't remember exactly all the plot points, but he's protecting her on a train. Of course, he was Lex Luthor in the original.
That's right.
Christopher Reeve Superman.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. I had also forgotten he's in the Royal Tenenbaums. So like I blanked a lot. He was a great actor. And in light of his passing and how tragic that was, I just want to remember him as he was. So I've been revisiting some of those movie moments of his. So that's my recommendation. Take in some Gene Hackman films if you can. Whatever your favorite performances of his are, give those a watch and honor the great actor that he was. What is your recommendation this time around? Anything? Come on, you got to come to the table with something, Veronica. You can't.
I told you all my brain has been just focused on this.
Are you watching anything or reading anything?
I'm watching nothing. I'm reading nothing. Even music, every time I'm in the car, I'm just listening to the songs and running the choreo in my head. Yeah. So that's just taking up all the space.
Is there anything that you're doing to sort of that is self-care related, something that you can recommend to people about that? Like I said, it does not need to be anything related to entertainment or books or movies, or it can just be hey, I recommend you take a bubble bath this week because I've been all about taking the bath. What is it that you hate about bubble baths? The sitting?
What was that line about Kramer gave in Seinfeld? You're just sitting there in a tub of tepid water of your own filth or something like that. It's why am I just sitting here in this water that's getting increasingly cold? No. I got things to do.
All right. So you nothing that you're doing for yourself these days, nothing that you're doing that you're enjoying. You're just going through the slog that is this life. It's just the damn existence.
No, I mean, I go to my exercise classes. That's my unwind time because work is also, since I work for the federal government, has been stressful and constantly having town hall meetings, all employee meetings, with the program hospital director and all the upper echelon management staff, trying to kind of
it's very
answer
stressful.
questions, and they don't have answers.
They don't have answers. Yeah. It's a very stressful time, and that was actually going to be my recommendation prior to Gene Hackman. My recommendation was going to be to everything is garbage right now. It is a dumpster fire all over the place right now. And so I was going to recommend to people find ways to tap into the art that you enjoy, and that can be any medium, books, films, whatever. Go to a museum if you're able, or look at art books, look at people creating at this moment in time, because of how crappy things are. Art and artists and the things that are going to be created coming out of this time are very important. The work that is put out there right now is very important, especially in times of government turmoil and democracy being on the brink of whatever. And so it's such an important time to look to art in whatever medium you enjoy as a source of creativity, as a source of creative inspiration, as a source of solace, as a source of meditation. And yeah, I mean, if you can.
In terms of movies, though, it's been a pretty crap season because Robert and I were talking about how, well, maybe we'll go to a movie this weekend, but there's nothing good showing. There's been nothing good showing.
Yeah.
It seems for a while.
Yeah. Did you guys see any of the
I didn't even know the Oscars had happened. Okay. That's how out of touch I am with all that.
I watched the Oscars. I watched at least a good chunk of it on Hulu. It was streaming on Hulu, so I got to see that. But like Anora, I have not seen, and I don't know that I would see. Like, it didn't strike me as necessarily a film that would appeal to me. But that movie like took home everything, so good for it, I suppose. But yeah, like whatever. If it's not movies, if it's like, honestly, I love going to art galleries. I love sort of taking in the works of creative people, and I get a lot of inspiration from that. And I get a lot of, it's just a treat to myself. You may not be able to do that. I understand that. But, I'll also just scroll through art online sometimes. I'll just look at what people are doing on my phone. And so if you can do that, if you can just find ways to tap into creativity, or in Veronica's case, tap into your own self-care through physical fitness, through whatever, these are the times where you just really need to be doing that. And I would recommend that for everyone's peace of mind right now, because you're not going to get it from anything else at this point in time. All right. Well, the other thing we want to make sure we let you guys know, Ron, you never responded to me. Are you down to watch The Orphanage next?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So guys, for the first time in forever, we're actually somewhat organized on what we're doing in the next few weeks, because we do have one more episode coming up in March 31st, I think. And we are going to be talking about The Orphanage, which I think a lot of people assume is a Guillermo del Toro movie. It's not. It's kind of a Guillermo del Toro vehicle. Like, I think he's a producer on this film, but it's directed by a J.A. Bayona. So it was his directorial full-length debut. So it's pretty cool. And it stars Belén Rueda, so another Belén Rueda film. And I do want to let you know, Ronnie, yes, I enjoy this movie. Yes, I own this movie. But I'm not like, you are allowed to not like this movie. I'm going to go in letting you know that, it's okay. I don't want you to feel that this is like my favorite movie. It's a movie that I've been wanting her to watch because she hasn't seen it, and I saw it and I enjoyed it. So, but you're allowed to not like it.
I would assume I could.
But that
I would not hold back my opinion.
That is going to be our next watch, our March 31st episode. And then we go into April. End of April is book club. So we have one movie episode in April, and then we have book club episode. And then Veronica and I were kind of talking about making May another step outside of Spanish language month. So our direction to Patreon people, if you are part of our Patreon, please toss out any recommendations you have for Step Outside Spanish Language Month. That's our month to look at movies that we can look at other foreign language films, or they can be American films, whatever. So just toss out your recommendations and we can take a look at those in May. But yeah, book club episode coming up end of April. We're going to be talking about Fever Dream by Samanta Schweblin. So make sure you read that, get that read, so that you can be part of book discussion with us. And
sounds like a plan.
Yep. Is there anything else, Ron, you wanted to say before we log off?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, I do hope that you find some sense of respite.
I just need to get on the other side of May.
Yeah.
Once June 1st hits, I will have a lot more free brain, mental space, free actual time.
Yeah.
To kind of get back to watching things I want to watch, reading what I want to read.
Right. Yeah.
I did see a news piece that the director of Train to Busan, whose name I cannot remember at this moment, is going to do another zombie movie. It's not like a sequel. It's not related to Train to Busan, but another zombie movie because they were announcing his cast. So I'll be looking forward to that whenever that comes out.
Yeah. Huh. But yeah, that'll be exciting. I'm trying to think. Like I was looking at the filmography of this kid, the kid who plays Tavo, and he is in a movie, Ron, that I feel like I've come across it in
that One Piece.
No, not that one. He is in that one too, but he's in a movie called No Abras la Puerta, which is a horror film, and so that might be something to like just kind of log away for the future. But yeah, No Abras la Puerta, that came out in 2022. And I guess that's more like true horror or, not comedy. And it stars him and it stars, I don't have other names in front of me. Who directs it? Directed by Humberto Hinosa Oscaris. I don't know how you say that. So yeah, that may be something to know. We came across a couple of things that are just like other movies that this kid is in. So I think he's a very, he's a working actor. He's getting a lot of good work. So that's good. All right. Well, I guess that's it. I guess we can go ahead and say bye-bye.
Good.
All right. Well, thank you so much for listening, guys, and we will see you next time.
Bye. Don't Watch at Night is a Nest production hosted by me, Veronica, and Valerie. Editing by Valerie. Music by Omar Chakor. Production support for this episode provided by Lorenzo Villarreal and Alex Street. Listen to new episodes of Don't Watch at Night every other Monday, and don't forget to give us a rate and review. It's the best way to help us grow.